Are you the judgy kind? Do you jump into conclusions assuming you know everything around you? We are all guilty of this one way or another, intentionally or a knee jerk reaction. This will be a fun topic for us. Welcome to Human Thesaurus Presents Epitome Anatomy. My name is Wish, and I talk about something, somehow, to dissect a word relevant from my life to yours. Ready for the epitome of assumption? Let's go. Our key word is assumption, a belief or feeling that something is true or that something will happen, although there's no proof. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, its etymology is quite interesting. The word assumption is from the Latin assumptionem, meaning a taking or receiving. Assumption was recorded circa 1300s as a noun describing the reception of the Virgin Mary into heaven. The word later shook its religious roots and developed into a noun we hear more often today. Usually when a person takes something for granted or literally takes possession of something. Some significant synonyms for this particular meaning are supposition, conjecture, conclusion, speculation. I jumped to record this because of a recent experience that I have, and I thought, oh my gosh, in our everyday lives, we assume a lot of things. I think it's for a matter of survival. What happened was my husband and I traveled to Manila recently for a few days to organize our new renovated apartment in Manila. The funny thing was, he booked probably way ahead of me, I think a week ahead of me. And then I booked differently because, from what I understood at that time, I was only going halfway through his trip because he's got a block leave. And for me, I was like, I didn't need to be there a long time because, I have cats. So we try not to abandon them for a long time with a cat sitter. And I'm having some attachment issues with them once in a while. Anyway, I digress. Going back. So he booked, and then I changed my booking as well at some point. And I know his dates. In the end, I needed to be there longer, and I could join him for the rest of his stay in Manila. So I booked. Actually, I have to cancel my booking to get back my points, and then I booked a new one. I was aware of what time he's going to, his flights in and out of Manila. After I booked something that it's non-refundable because I'm sure I'm going on those dates and I don't want to change them anymore. But I found out from my husband that there is a promo and he's got a lot of points, and he upgraded to business class because we had a lot of stuff that we wanted to bring back. Apart from our status in the airline, we also needed the extra kilograms that we need for all the things that we wanted to bring back with us to Manila as part of the renovation, organizing all of these and creature comforts and the things that we wanted to put there permanently. It was just a funny thing. It's like, oh my God, what will everybody would say? Because you're going to look like an asshole and I'm going to look like a doormat that we're in a different class, which is a funny thing. And then it didn't really bother me. It's just I'm more bothered what the assumptions are going to be. It's not like I am a people pleaser or I care about what other people think, but it's really more of, how do you explain it? I don't really care about what everybody thinks, but also I don't want to be inconvenienced by what everybody may think of us. Especially, I'm very protective of my husband. So if someone would think of him in a different light, even though it's a stranger, I would protect him. That's just me. Okay, so it happened. At some point, I was so unbothered. I was so tired and I was just looking forward to organizing our apartment. So I never really cared going into there. And I was like, you know what? Let everybody assume whatever they want to assume. It will be fun. So that was my thinking going into Manila. But going out of Manila is a different story because we checked in together, doesn't matter. We went towards the immigration and we went together at the immigration side by side with two different immigration officers. The immigration officers are looking at each other and looking at us and wanted to ask again whether we're together and what are we. And I said, we are husband and wife. And then he said, why is he on business class and you're not? And I was like, ah, because I come here a lot and I really don't care and let him be there. It doesn't matter to us. It seems like they were smiling at it. And I think they can't accept that fact because we were so nonchalant about that. We never really cared. And it was like a chuckly moment for me. I was just chuckling and they chuckled with me. You know, this looks unusual to you, but it doesn't matter to us. We travel a lot. But even for me to explain that, I was like, why the heck did I even have to explain that? But anyway, it was just a matter of fun. Oh my gosh, in our everyday lives, we assume a lot of other people. Even just people that pass by us for a second, we may think, oh, that guy stinks, or oh, that guy is looking at their phone. Like there's always something that we assume every day, and our brains are just processing it that way. Like I think our brain scientifically is just making something out of your environment, whether it's part of the fight or flight, it's a part of our logic or illogical brain, let's say. On that side, it's like people just assume that either my husband was an asshole and I'm the doormat. I feel like they're trying to protect me, and I was like, ugh. There's nothing to protect there. In terms of assumption, right? Because we do this all the time. Again, I'm not judging you. I'm also assuming things about you or about humanity in general. We always assume, but there are two different things that we assume. Let's pack this in two different bags. It's either we assume for the better or we assume for the worse. I think if you observe yourself every day assuming things, try to assess whether you're assuming for the better or for the worse. Because it will determine whether you're a cynic or you're an optimist. I think it's a good way to frame this because we're all doing it anyway. We're all judging in many different forms. I think it's just good for us to pack it that way. To be honest with you, when I'm in public, I am paranoid. Paranoid, but it doesn't stop me from anything. I'm paranoid because I'm a woman and I ought to always muscle memory to protect myself in public. Thankfully, Singapore is so safe that sometimes I just really put my guard down. But it doesn't really happen effortlessly. It's always with an effort for me. It's like, hey, girl, relax. You're okay. But my default, wherever I go, especially I travel on my own a lot, I love to do things on my own, is to protect myself. So I assume that everybody around me may attack me, may give me a bad look, or I may get into an accident. So this is where my fight or flight happens. When I'm in public, around strangers, I assume for the worst to protect myself. A lot of women can relate to this. Most of us who went clubbing in our 20s, we're still alive right now because of that fight or flight mode. There are moments nowadays I'm in the we don't care generation. Safe to say that when we're out there, for example, one of my pet peeves is people lacking of spatial awareness. So when people are very close to me, I look at them as if they're a thief. I don't care whether I offend them or not. I wanted to protect myself, whether they're really a real thief or not. I really don't care, because at the end of the day, I will protect myself that way. It's quite interesting to frame it this way. I haven't thought about this, of framing it this way, until I was writing my outline for this podcast. There's another portion in terms of our assumption. When we're assuming too much and it consumes us to the point that we're jumping into conclusions and it's giving you sleepless nights, reframe that and try sometimes to give people benefit of the doubt. That way, when you give benefit of the doubt, probably you're going to take a step back and think of the situation again, especially when these situations are relationships based, not for strangers. The strangers probably mostly, again, for protection and wouldn't really completely affect you emotionally. But when it comes to relationships, there should be a certain portion of you to give the benefit of the doubt. But don't be an idiot as well, because sometimes you get played around so much over and over because you were an idiot. So there's a difference there as well. That's a pitfall, but it's just good to be neutral in between and taking a step back sometimes before you react to something, because you may be also wrong. It's an assumption. It's not it's not proof based when it's an assumption, right? Like the real meaning of it. The one that sullies this step, though, when you give someone benefit of the doubt or self-preservation, is also we have instincts, maternal instincts, or it's just vibe or the feeling that you feel. And you also needed to trust that. If you feel you're in an unsafe environment, you have to trust that. You cannot just deny, oh, probably it's hormones or whatever. There's also some strong feelings, like especially mothers, right? It's like, I think there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And then they check their child in their bedroom and then something's happening. And we have to trust that. But I think, like, generally with all of these, what I'm saying is a matter of balance, where you are at in life. Are you getting affected by your assumptions? Are you getting insomnia from it or overthinking? So probably you need to reframe that and find that place, that more peaceful place in your life, that maybe you think of other people too much, that you're assuming, for example, they hate me and apparently they don't. They just don't care about you, or they don't even know you exist, or something like that, right? So I think it's just really a matter of balance with all of these, like the benefit of the doubt, reframing yourself, rather when you're assuming, you're just being judgy or overthinking. Are you assuming for the better? Are you assuming for the worse? It's all about this objectivity, separation of different situations, like a consideration of that. And also, like, assuming that your beliefs aren't necessarily general or aren't necessarily the most widely acceptable out there, or you have a different school of thought with people around you or strangers around you. There's a self awareness involved with all of these. There's a self awareness that involved with our assumptions, the basis of our judgments towards the situation, the environment, towards other people. Most of these topics will always bring up compassion or consideration or empathy. When I'm ranting, it's always about self reflection. Mostly for me, it's normally inwards. I may be so sarcastic on social media, but that's just my humor. When I'm encountering funny or distressful or weird situation, I always tend to look inwards. And I'm glad to share all of these thoughts with you now. You're stuck with me. So, what's your story about your assumptions? What are the things that you always assume, and apparently you were schooled for being wrong for it, but it was quite entertaining to know? Share your experiences with me. Let's have an unassuming moment together. Until next time, ciao. Humidsaurus podcast is produced by me and Jeremiah Ronquillo. All rights reserved via Wish Plus Media.